What's the role of sleep in health, and how does sleep affect a person's ability to, or how does it affect their eating, for example, in a given day?
Well, today's April 15th, and if you look at what accountants are eating all across America, you can see the effect of sleep deprivation. What they are now eating is black coffee and donuts. In other words, if you haven't slept properly, you'll eat anything just to get through the day. So sleep is really important. But a lot of people don't sleep very well for several reasons. First of all, caffeine. Some people are very sensitive to caffeine, and maybe a quarter of their morning cup of joe is still circulating in their brain that night. So some people don't remove caffeine very quickly. Alcohol is another issue. The red wine makes you feel great and sleepy, but it metabolizes to an aldehyde in the middle of the night, which wakes you up. And for a lot of people, a lack of exercise means their body is not really physically tired enough to really want sleep. So be careful with caffeine and alcohol. Minimize them. Get some good physical activity. Get your heart pumping so that when you lie down, your body says, you just need to unplug and let me heal. And you'll heal. Your body needs that. When you are unconscious, your brain stops making the beta amyloid so much. That's going to protect you from Alzheimer's. So sleep is really, really important.
So we talked a little bit about other diets, and obviously one of the popular diets nowadays is the keto diet. And you were talking about how if you don't lose weight, well, then why are you on this diet, et cetera. A lot of people say that they have a remarkable weight loss when they go on keto. They also say that their mind gets clear. Why does that happen on that diet? And what are your thoughts on the benefits and or shortcomings of the keto diet?
I don't have I don't doubt that for many people they will lose weight on that because carbohydrates are 50 or 60% of what you eat. So if you remove them, will you lose weight? Yeah, most people will. The concern that we all have about it, including the keto advocates about it, the honest ones um, will acknowledge that if the foods that are left behind are animal products, that you will see, despite the fact that most people who lose weight will see that their lipid numbers tend to get better because weight loss, I mean, however you lose weight, your cholesterol levels are usually going to drop, except with keto or low carb in general. For many people, a low carb diet is a meaty diet. And for about 1 in 3, even with weight loss, their LDLs, their bad cholesterol levels go up. And sometimes they go up really to a frightening degree. And you see an increased risk of cardiovascular disease that has us really worried. Beyond that, the risk is you're eating foods that are the very foods known to be associated with cancer risk over the long term. They're also the foods that are associated with Alzheimer's over the long term. So that's, plus the fact that your environmental friends and your friends who have a heart for animals are going to think you're kind of going the wrong direction as well. So there's every reason to not do that kind of diet.
What are your thoughts on time restricted eating and water fasting?
Time restricted eating, there was a time when we didn't have light bulbs, and whatever restaurants we had back in those prehistoric eras had to close at sundown. So we didn't eat, at night. And so I think that's sort of a good pattern to emulate, rather than eating until we turn off the TV at 1:30 in the morning. So that's good. I do have one caution though. When people go on, say, an intermittent fast of 5 days of regular eating and 2 days of more restricted eating, something like that, I think that's okay. For many people, they think it's fine and they do well with it. But if you discover that you're sort of anticipating the 2 days off by overeating on Thursday before the fast on Friday, or that you rebound after the 2 days are over, that's not so good. You're kind of defeating the purpose of it. So I think overall it's a good thing for our eating to be a little bit contained. And my colleague Hannah Kaliova has done great work on saying on people who just eat 2 meals a day. A really big breakfast, a really big sort of midday meal, and that's it. And at first you think, I couldn't possibly. Give it a try. For many people, it just transforms their life. So if you want to try that, I would not discourage you at all.
And can you speak to the specific health benefits of doing time restrictive eating? Is it actually if you're eating the same amount of calories and you're eating the same food, but you're doing so within a more restrictive window, does that confer health benefits, or is it just, it's just a certain pattern of eating?
Okay, let me quickly declare there's certain things where I have certain amount of expertise. Time-restricted eating is not one where I have done trials personally. So everything I'm telling you is just what I know from our colleagues who are reporting their findings. But we do see a couple of things. Number one, we do see for some people, we see improved ease of weight control. We see addictive behavior diminishing. We sometimes see mood improving, and we see blood glucose improving. So all those things do seem to get better. Now, would they have gotten better just as well from sort of time unrestricted eating, where the diet was really an optimal diet? You could make that argument. But I am quite prepared to believe that limiting the window of eating is a reasonable approach.
And something that kind of came out of nowhere, I think, maybe like 10 years ago, it's become wildly popular talking about it, is the microbiome. Can you discuss how, a little bit about the microbiome and specifically how the whole food plant-based diet interacts with the microbiome?
Well, I grew up in North Dakota, and I personally believe that we didn't even have a microbiome. I mean, it was too cold to sustain life in general, and so how could you have one? But I learned to the contrary that we actually do. It's amazing. You've got thousands of different species living inside you. Um, the thing about it is your gut bacteria, they can either be ornery or they can be your friend. And they get ornery if you don't feed them properly. And feeding them properly means high fiber foods. As I mentioned earlier, we are not cats and dogs. We're not carnivores, and your gut microbiome does not do very well if you feed it a lot of greasy stuff and dairy products and things. And the changes occur really quickly. At the University of Pittsburgh, researchers did an amazing study where they brought in uh, individuals in Pittsburgh and individuals in rural South Africa. In South Africa, they were eating root vegetables, more plant-based diet. They had them for 2 weeks trade diets. So the Pittsburgh folks were eating the diet high in root vegetables, high in fiber. Within 2 weeks, their microbiomes changed dramatically. And the losers were the people from South Africa who adopted the Pittsburgh diet, eating chicken and so forth. They may have thought it was seductive, but it's really harmful to your gut microbiome. And your gut microbiome really fuels so many things, not just a good digestion, but even your mentation and even things like your cellular metabolism, because your gut needs to be populated by bacteria who don't leak enterotoxin into your blood and all kinds of other things. You've got to feed them right.